Hello.
Behind the line, sorry. Yeah.
Something else when they have to
Oh, did he, yeah?
more or less.
Nice one.
Come on the streets!
Sorry, what are you doing?
Oh, there's a bit of discussion.
Who was there? Who's there?
They ran towards
Yeah? Oh, they didn't? Yeah. So was there was no actual violence? It was just... No, I'm sure someone... You know what? People, if you would have got it home, yeah? Or someone else, you know. I mean, makes the point. It was the Antifa rush that was it. I mean, that would be viral, but...
Oh, based.
What?
They are stay on this side.
Sorry. Alright lads, how are you doing? Sorry. So, as you know, there's a kind of anti-lockdown protest here in Dublin. I missed the start because I'm late. I'm always late. Apparently there were some scuffles. The Antifa side here who were being clearly the kind of violent ones. But yeah, apparently they rushed the side here, this side, and I don't think there was any violence. Reportedly, there wasn't actually any violence. There was just a scuffle. So here we are. I think a lot of them. I heard a lot of them are pretty scummy people. What's the crack? How are you? So yeah, I'll take you back. I'll show you. Oh yeah, one more thing. As always, share this around. I would appreciate it. Share it on your Facebook, on your Twitter, and all that. You know, why not? So thanks, lads. Sorry.
Any restrictions in this country on the movement of people while our borders are wide open, while people can walk in and out of this country at the airport, at the ports, anytime they want, unless you're Irish of course and you're going on holidays, that's different, but anybody else can. So it's a complete scam. Why are we locked down while those borders are wide open? And this is in keeping with our establishment's policy on borders for the past few years. They have been wide open. They have been wide open. And I don't want anything to do with this new normal, folks. And you know what? The old normal was far from ideal as well. We need to not be sidelined by our establishment. That was what was happening in the old normal. We were being displaced and we were being replaced. People might think that's a conspiracy theory, but I will prove you wrong before I get down off this stage. We were never consulted about any of this radical change to Irish society. Never asked, never consulted. In 2005, Professor Ferdinand von Podzinski from BCU predicted that for the first time ever in the history of Ireland, the ethnic Irish people, you and me, the Gaelic Irish, the Norman Irish, the ethnic Irish who have lived here undisturbed for 1,000 years, would be an ethnic minority by 2050 in this country. That is just 30 years. Now that is a big problem that we need to address, because our establishment is anti-family. It is too expensive in this country to raise kids, and for the kids that we're not having, they're importing them from all sorts of foreign cultures into this country, and we're never been asked about this. And indeed, the 2016 census corroborates this prediction, with the native Gaelic Celtic population just representing 81% of the population of this country. This was a big shock for a lot of people. And if this goes down another 20%, we're in big trouble. Our establishment does not, as I said, they don't incentivize Irish couples to have kids. It is too expensive to do that in this country. But you get everything for free if you just stepped off a board. Also, something that is speeding up this process rapidly was, and it's ethnocide, if any of you want to know, that's what it is, was the announcement in 2018 by Leo Varadkar of Project Ireland 2040. Leo Varadkar was asked about his policy on mass migration by the deputy leader of a fantastic party earlier this year, and he said, I don't have a policy on mass migration. He does. It's called Project Ireland 2040. Look it up. It's there. And if anybody wants to say this is a conspiracy theory, it's not, folks. You can just go to the United Nations website, look up their policy document called Replacement Migration, and we are all in with the UN, our establishment is. So what they're trying to do is keep the ratio of worker in every UN country exactly where the UN wants it. While the Irish people in this country, the ethnic Irish, languish on housing lists for years, languish on hospital trolleys. Our system can't cope with the inflow and nobody is addressing it. And to add insult to injury, we pay 5.5 billion, that is 5,500 million annually to the NGO sector in this country to write articles to call us racist for not accepting it. What they have decided for us, our fate. They're also trying to overthrow the 2004 birthright citizenship referendum. We can never let that happen. That was voted in by 80% of the people of this country, and they are trying to undermine it every chance they get. We have to keep an eye on that. Now, RTE are busy telling us about the new Gaels, making sure that the Irish know your time will soon be over. I don't know how this affects the mental health of children, but it can't be good. I never grew up in an Ireland like that. It can't be good being told about the new Gaels. Folks, we've seen last week what these people over here do. They were calling Irish homeless people down in Galway Nazis. So the word Nazi means nothing. Let it rub off your back like water off a duck's back. It has no meaning when it comes from their mouths. They don't even know what it means. Now, another thing I meant to mention about the NGO sector is they're trying to bring in hate speech laws to stop me and other people speaking about the exact things I am speaking about here, all of the issues I have brought up. They tried to ban us from the internet when we bring up these issues. The UN tried to hide their documents on replacement migration. They take them offline, then they put them back up, then they take them down. But go and check these documents out and check out Project Ireland 2040. The people at home who are watching this, if you think any of this is a conspiracy theory. But folks, there is light at the end of the tunnel. I'm going to finish with this. We have a party that is willing and wanting to address these issues. No other party in this country will even recognise any of these issues I have mentioned. And they're also the only anti-lockdown party that we have. And they are here today. So be glad that we have them, respect them, and tell your families and your people about them. We have to support them. It's the only way. Thank you for the organising of this protest. Thanks to everybody who came. And thank you. That's it.
And she's demented, that fat bitch. She's just fucking starving. They don't have any sense of decency whatsoever.
Hi lads. So that was critiqued. You know critiqued. Everybody knows critiqued. Sorry. So give us an old share there and a subscribe while I'm at it. I have to get something.
Reno, show yourself.
Here's Chopper. Mick O'Keefe.
Gran Torino around anywhere. He's making a fashionably late entrance, is he? There he is. Big round of applause for Gran Torino.
Unaccustomed as I am to public speaking, I haven't anything prepared, but I'm going to keep it short and brief. Congratulations to each and every one of you. We're all people of different nationalities. We all want the best thing for Ireland. Of course! Don't let them put you off. They're all paid propagandists. We're here to fight for Ireland. We're here to fight for our freedoms, our bodily autonomy. We're here to respect the Constitution, and we want the equal application of the rule of law. But for that, and so on that very brief point, I'm going to keep it short and sweet. All I wanted to say to you is thank you to each and every one of you for turning out here today. It takes a lot of courage, takes a lot of strength to just keep walking on, because more will follow, more will come.
Thanks for the update.
That's all you have to understand.
Hi lads, I'm going to bring up the leader of the National Party, Justin Barrett.
It's great to see such a massive crowd of communists out here today to support the Fianna Fáil Fine Gael. It's great to see them out here today, keeping the status quo where it ought to be, i.e. the mess we're in. They wave the flag of our republic in our faces like they have a right to.
They've no right!
They are nothing to do with Ireland.
Traitors!
The Irish people.
Traitors!
They are waving the Union Jack on this street 100 years ago. But over supporting the establishment, supporting corporate America, supporting international finance capitalism, because that's how you get a revolution, isn't it? By supporting capitalism.
Curry scum!
During the course of this week, we have been accused in several of the major news publications of this country. Sometimes by name, sometimes not. Sometimes they put us under this heading far right. Not terribly sure what that actually means. Not terribly sure they know that either. But the fact of the matter is that we have been right so far. At the beginning of this crisis, and when I say a crisis, I do not mean a crisis with the virus. I mean a crisis that has occurred because of the government's reaction to the virus. At the beginning, the National Party, we're accused of jumping on bandwagons. The National Party was extremely cautious about coming out against the lockdown, not knowing what the situation was, not having the numbers that the government had, not having the medical advice that they had. And they will say to you now that the thing to do is you can't listen to Justin Barrett. What would he know about it? He's not a doctor, and he's not a medical professional, and he's not a virologist. So why would he know about it? But it turns out that when they were telling us to listen to the science and listen to the numbers, they were listening to Jedward. Now, I don't have much medical credentials, I'll tell you. But I'll put them up against Jedward anyway. No, we have not climbed on a bandwagon. As you can see, the vast majority of people in this country have yet to realise the facts and figures and what they mean. Yesterday, for example, Neffet actually managed to raise somebody from the dead. They had a withdrawn notification of death. Now, I don't know about the religious among you out here, but the last time I remember somebody being raised from the dead, it was on Easter Sunday. And it was called a miracle. A miracle of miracles. Neffet is raising people from the dead. And not only are they raising people from the dead, but they're counting the dead twice. You get counted when you die, and you get counted when they notify the authorities that you're dead. And RTE will announce both figures every night in the news. Ladies and gentlemen, here are the straight, raw facts. Since the beginning of this so-called pandemic, remember that's the phrase, pandemic, 2,676 people have died in this country. Now for their families and for their friends, every death is a tragedy, and every death is an absolute, and every death is immeasurable harm and damage. But there's the one thing that is absolutely sure in life, and that is death. It will come to us all one way or the other, and what waits for us afterwards is what we have to worry about. Since the beginning of this so-called crisis, pandemic, 2,776 people have died on an island of 6,833,111 people. That gives you the chance of having died of COVID-19 this year of approximately 0.0000391%. That's what they closed the country down for. A death rate of 0.0000391%. In the middle of a pandemic, the United Nations, the same people who are sending the WHO here to manage the panic, because it's a panic, not a pandemic, estimate that Ireland's population increased by 1.3%. How do you increase your population in the middle of a pandemic? Do you think during the bubonic plague in the Middle Ages that the population of Europe went up by 1.3% annually? Do you think the bubonic plague killed 0.0000391%? Do you think you had to announce deaths twice in the news and raise people from the dead and kill them again?
You know, there was
when you have a pandemic, when you have a genuine, serious health issue, you would not have these numbers required to be read out to you on the news every night. You would see it in your own families, you would see it in the streets here today. And even the crowd over there, they've come here, they tell us they believe the government. There's a COVID COVID virus that's going to kill them all. But they're here anyway. Have courage. Oh, Lord, have the courage it takes to wander around the streets with a gay pride flag. With a virus that's going to kill me stone dead by the season. But I don't believe it. And I don't believe it because Leo Varadkar told us. And the Irish Times told us back in March the 11th, to be exact. He told us that 85,000 people might die of COVID-19.
And then when the pandemic,
That the COVID mortality was 3.4%.
Rise! Absolute rise!
Unfortunately, he doesn't seem to understand where the decimal point goes. It's way over there.
Doesn't make people afraid.
The Irish Times said the figures are plausible. They're not so plausible anymore, are they?
Irish slaves are true.
They're not so plausible anymore, are they? Every death is a tragedy, but lockdown kills too.
Suicide's up the roof. Suicide is up the roof.
Because where are we headed here?
Not a mention in the
No, not a mention.
Where are we headed here? With cancers that are undiagnosed, with heart disease that's undiagnosed, strokes, Alzheimer's. These are the deadly killers of Irish people in 2019. And none of these people have received medical treatment since they started to run after the World Health Organization. And our representative, God help us, our representative on the World Health Organization, somebody please find him a home. Because he looks homeless.
Yeah,
he really
they want to make
does.
us look bad.
He hasn't had a wash, he hasn't had a shower, he hasn't had a shave
Everywhere, you know.
in quite some time.
We'll never beat the Irish.
This is the man we're supposed to listen
never
to.
will. The British tried, they didn't.
Where are we headed? Into cancer deaths, heart disease deaths, Alzheimer's deaths, the killers, the real killers. What are we going to do about the people who are committing suicide? Because they're stuck in lockdown and already depressed. There isn't a single person in this entire country that haven't had their mental health affected negatively by the panic. President Roosevelt said we have nothing to fear but fear itself. Absolutely. It's the fear that is killing us. There's the fear of actually dealing with the actual problems we have. So let Ireland live. Let Ireland live. Don't lift the level 3 restrictions. Don't talk about the level 5 restrictions. Don't even talk about level 1 restrictions. Did you notice that on the list of levels for crisis, there's no level 0? There's no time, there's no situation in which they're saying, that's the end of the restrictions. The restrictions are here to stay. We're just going to move between them.
And get worse and worse and worse.
While people are actually dying of every other illness untreated. Let Ireland live. Where is our economy going?
Down the Swanee.
When we started the year, we were 200 million. So, excuse me. I do have a problem with statistics. The journal will do a fact check on these. 200 214 billion euro is what we owe as of about 3:30 last night into the morning. I check it regularly. It goes up at an awful pace.
Hello, Justin.
We are taking on a 30 billion euro deficit this year alone to deal with a crisis that doesn't exist. When Leo Varadkar was asked on the Clareburn live show why it was they didn't take Neffet's advice and go to level 5, he said there would be a problem with borrowing money in that circumstance. International finance capital, you see. These are people with money. And nobody is willing to bet money on a country that'll be stupid enough to go into a second lockdown. That's what he meant. And that's what he knew. And that's what he couldn't say. He couldn't say because they're the 3 words that the Communist International won't talk about. International finance capital. They're the ones who are setting the pace. They're the ones who are setting the levels. And our economy now owes them 214 billion.
Thanks to Leo.
And as for the unemployment figures, what are they? 100,000, 200,000, 300,000, 400,000, 500,000, 600,000, 700,000, 800,000. You get where I'm going with this, don't you? Even my own children can count that far. We're getting there at a rapid pace. I don't know exactly who the representatives of the working class are going to represent when there's nobody left working. The department has a name for it because they don't want to call it unemployed. There's a new name for it. This is away from work. Away from work. They're not unemployed, they're just away from work for the past 8 months. They're just away from work, away from a living, away from a wage that they can depend on, away of managing to pay their mortgage, managing to pay their rent, managing to pay for their family's existence. Let Ireland live. And with that too, we face a no-deal Brexit. But hey, that's no big deal, because the ESRI estimates that we're going to have economic growth next year of 3.4%. They're the only social research institute in the world who believes there's going to be economic growth next year. God bless them. 3.4% growth in the middle of a pandemic with 200 and 300 billion euro in debt. Yeah, that's not very likely. That's not very likely. But as I said, the question is, what are they going to do about it? Well, I'll tell you what they decided to do so far. They've decided to create money. They've decided to create money out of nothing. Now this is not a new thing, by the way. This is not a new thing. This has been going on for centuries. Where the banks create money out of nothing. But it is usually used to leech off the supply and demand economy. The real economy. The people who work. The people who make things. The people who produce things. The people who take care of people. The people who actually create. It's normally in that direction. But now they reckon you can stimulate a dead free market economy by simply saying, hey, we've got another €1 trillion. Where'd you get it from? We made it up. The US Federal Reserve says, hey, we've got the solution to America's economic problems. We're going to create $2 trillion. Where are you going to get it from? We're going to make it up.
You're going to give it there.
We're going to make it up. And by making it up, everything will be fine. No problem at all. And of course, it's not going to affect the value of the euro that you have in your pocket, that they just print $1 trillion more.
Hyperinflation.
It's not going to affect the value of the dollar, that they print $2 trillion more. I'd like, ladies and gentlemen, to be able to put what €1 trillion is in layman's figures. But bloody hell, it's €1 trillion! Nobody can put that in layman's terms. And so, we have a malevolence behind this. And this is something that is very difficult for people to face. The idea that their own government, the idea that their own public health service, the idea that their own political leadership would not only be incompetent, but would positively be malevolent and malicious towards them. And yet that is the case. Because if we look at any given person's actions, and they don't make sense, how do we factor why they're doing what they're doing? We factor it by its effect. We can assume that what can be anticipated as the effect is what they intended the effect to be. So if you know somebody in your life who makes everybody around them miserable, and you don't understand why they do that, I'll answer for you. They want to make everybody around them miserable. It's as simple as that. You're dealing with a mindset coming from China's Communist Party all the way to Leinster House. You're dealing with a mindset. Leonid Brezhnev had a conversation once with Richard Nixon about Mao Zedong. And they're the same people who are in charge of China today. And they're the same people who are charting the course of where this country is going to. He had a conversation with Richard Nixon and he said, Mao, he said, oh, you can't deal with Mao. He said, you know what he said to me at the last conference we had? He said, I'm not worried about a nuclear war. There are 900 million Chinese. There were 900 million then, there's quite a few more now. Some of them are even Lord Mayors. He said, there are 900 million Chinese. If 600 million of them die, there will still be 300 million left. That's the Chinese communist way of thinking, and it's being brought to our country. That kind of madness. That kind of madness. There you go. So long as the goal is achieved. Who cares if 600 million die? So long as 300 million useful people are left. And I have said this in speech after speech after speech long before this crisis, that the only value that the government places upon you anymore, and the only value that the European Union places on you, and definitely the only value that the international finance capital places on you is your value as a producing unit or a consuming unit. And if you're producing a net negative, they want rid of you. And that is why, that is the real reason why COVID-19 insofar as it did impacted hugely in the nursing homes of Ireland, where literally they killed off the elderly. They weren't of any use anymore. 2,676 people died with COVID since the beginning of the year. 666 children were murdered by abortion in that same year. And nobody batted an eyelid. And nobody closed anything down. Nobody stopped the economy. Nobody said there was a panic. Nobody wore any masks. Nobody socially distanced. And they were sliced to pieces. These are the people that we are to believe have our best interests at heart, that they care about lives, born or unborn. During that run-up to that referendum, the far right, that is to say, myself, the far right warned the elderly that if abortion passed, they would be next. That was a conspiracy theory. What a hateful, horrible thing for Mr. Barrett to say in the middle of an abortion referendum. How divisive and hateful, and how nasty he is, conjuring up these fears for the old people of the nation. Inside in that house, right, this week, they are going to pass a euthanasia bill to do precisely what I told you they were going to do. Let Ireland live! Let Ireland live! Let Ireland
live!
Neil Martin is not the Taoiseach of this country. He's just a land agent. He's a land agent collecting the rent for the absentee landlord, just as he used to live in London. Now he lives in Brussels and New York. He's a land agent. And I won't tell you what used to happen to people who were land agents. It was a risky business. But I'm not threatening behaviour. And I don't want to do that because poor old me, he doesn't really get it. He doesn't really know what's going on. And that's true of the vast majority of these idiots in here. That's true of the vast majority of these idiots in here. Mad as a box of frogs. I would like to address a few words. It's on Garda Síochána. No.
Hang Drew Harris.
Put off the questions. Nobody believes the Irish Examiner article that any senior guard in Ireland believes that we are part of a terrorist organisation. You don't believe it. We don't believe it. The writer of the article doesn't believe it. You're the guardians of our peace.
Yes,
You are of us, and we are of you. We are the Irish people. And I have been accused, the National Party in general, but myself personally, of an intention to collaborate with Garda Síochána if the National Party ever comes to power. Now, first of all, I'm flattered by the assumption that we will come to power. Second of all, I want to assure Garda Síochána that we have every intention of collaborating with you on law enforcement. We have every intention of giving you laws that are enforceable We have every intention of giving you the equipment and the numbers to take on the criminal gangs, not the people who are walking around breathing in fresh air. We want to collaborate with you. We want to collaborate with you on ending actual crime in this country instead of standing around trying to keep nutcases from attacking people in the street. And we will give you judges. We will give you judges that pass the sentences worthy of the crimes that you have gone to the trouble of investigating and prosecuting. And we will give you the prison places in which those convicted will go. And not that you find them turning around in Mountjoy and back out the door, looking at you in your Garda car and laughing in your face on the way out. We will support our law enforcement because we are a party of law and order. When the laws make sense and the order is not chaos.
Yes.
But we understand. We understand that you have a difficult job and you have orders and you're being given orders by the box of frogs. And what are you going to do? So we will try to be as understanding as we can in the meantime between now and when we become the government. We're going to be trying to be understanding as we can of you having to carry out the orders that you have to carry out. It's not the first time that I've been in this situation, so I'm quite familiar with trying to maintain, shall we say, civility in an atmosphere in which it's been decided in higher places that my right to free speech is not permitted. I'm sure some of the guards here are aware, they've been told before they came down. I've been arrested 11 times on the public order. 11 times. I have never once taken a Garda's name, and I have never once taken a Garda's number, because I have absolutely no intention of pursuing anybody for just following orders. But I will say this, for any member of An Garda Síochána here who fancies himself a promotion, there's an opportunity when we get the Royal Irish Constabulary out of the leadership of An Garda Síochána. Are there any mate boys out there? Are there any mate boys out there on An Garda Síochána who are willing to stand with Ireland?
Yes.
Because Ireland in the end will win.
Woo-hoo.
Ireland will win.
Ireland can win.
I think there's an air raid down there.
We wish.
Probably it's Germans.
Having our own board.
Luftwaffe.
Trump has launched a scud.
Now they're after making me lose my speech. My order, but on the other hand, at the same time, I wouldn't want to say anything that wasn't true. I mean, I wouldn't want to join everybody else and say anything else. So I do believe we have the last page. Why is this the nationalist cause? Why is it to be led more than anything else by the National Party? Because it's not a public health issue. It's a national issue. It's an issue of life and death. But more, it's an issue of life and death for the nation. Whether we can allow ourselves to accept the destruction of our republic before our very eyes and say nothing. Let Ireland live! Let Ireland live! The legislation under which the government has used that so perfect word, emergency. Nothing like an emergency to make sure the courts let you do whatever the hell you want. It's an emergency, you see. And it's under emergency legislation that they have done what they have done. It's under emergency of legislation that they have killed who they have killed. That legislation has a sunset clause on November the 9th. November the 9th. Remember that date very carefully. Because if the Dáil and Shannon does not renew that act on November the 9th, it ceases to exist. And in the context in which it ceases to exist, so too do all the restrictions. The pubs open, the factories open, people get back to work, we can get the economy back on the road again, we can make a try. I'm afraid a great recession is already locked in. It's locked in by what they've already done. 3.4% growth next year. Yeah, let's see it. Let's see that in the raw, real life. November the 9th is a key date. And I want to send this government a message. And a message that's loud enough for them to hear. And I am well aware that we are not the majority in this country. That they are majority in this country have been cowered into fear and panic by Dr. Holohan when he wasn't killing women with cervical cancer checks that didn't work. And so I'm well aware as to the box of frogs in there are thinking to themselves, where are the votes? Or where are the votes going to go? And right now they have every intention on November the 9th of renewing those restrictions. And I can tell you at this very moment they have every intention of moving to a full lockdown again. And we know it. But I asked them, go back and read your Irish Times. Go back and read the Irish Examiner, read the journal.ie. There's a rise of the far right, gentlemen. There's a rise of the far right. The far right that's been right so far. How much longer? How much longer can we keep being right and still stay in the minority? That's the guess you're going to have to make. Will you make it past November the 9th? I think you probably will.
Yeah, we will.
I think you could give it a chance in there. Pass it again if you want. But you're dealing with the rise of the far right. Not a terrorist organization. Not a terrorist organization. We will walk through those.
We defend our land.
We will walk through those gates on the mandate of the people because we have been right every time and we have shown the truth every time. And when there's more of us than there are of them, then we'll empty out the box.
Drain the swamp.
So, if I can give them some kind of incentive, read your newspapers. There's a rise of the far right. It's coming to get you, and it's worse than COVID-19. Vladimir Ilyich Lenin once said, and I'll end on this, he said if there were 5,000 people in St. Petersburg in 1918 who knew what they wanted, there would never have been a revolution in Russia. Well, we're not 5,000 yet, but we know what we want. We want them to let Ireland live. We want to let Ireland live. We know what we want. We want to let Ireland live. We will not live under a communist dictatorship. No matter how soft a hand it lays upon us. We will fight like our forefathers fought for our freedoms and our rich Ireland, because Ireland belongs to us. Let Ireland live! Let Ireland live! Let Ireland live! Let Ireland live! International finance capital has decided that Ireland will fall and that Ireland must die. And that is why we must win. Yes. Because Ireland will live. Yes,
Right, lads, that's it for today. Gardaí would like you to leave in groups. If possible, can we leave this direction, as they have numbers up there to keep us safe. I know you all probably want to hang around and talk, but today really isn't the day for it because of these fucking lunatics over here. So we'll wrap it up quick. We'll say our goodbyes and we'll see you at the next one. Thank you very much for coming. I really appreciate it. God bless you
So there you have it, lads. Oh, let me get a look at you there, lads. Oh yeah, that happens. Yeah. Okay, so that's in reverse there, but it's Let Ireland Live, everyone. Yeah. And that's the National Party.
Gerd, you want to watch? Gerd, you make sure you stick with some lads, yeah.
Huh?
Make sure you stick close to some lads from here.
Oh, I will, yeah. I'll look at it.
Because now that there's scum.
I know what I'm doing. I'll be careful. But just for the thanks, man. Just for the old viewers there, just to demonstrate as well, and the guards know this fully well. Talk about the far right threat, and they're the violent ones, and Izzy Kamikaze and all this. Look at the guards here. We have a small line of guards, right? Peaceful enough, relaxed. Over there we have about 3 layers. Sorry, wrong direction. About 3 layers of guards. There have been multiple clashes between the guards and this Antifa crowd. Everybody knows what the real story is, but the journalists day after day lie about it. And one little incident, and this side is deemed to be the violent one. So we have a lying media, a lying press. And I know, I don't want to put these guards on the spot, but I know they know it full well too. So we have a lying state media, state and corporate media. So that's just what I wanted to say there. You see, we see it still here. So just don't believe the bullshit. Because it's this side, the side behind me, are the ones who are a threat to the established order, and the ones who you are looking at now are the ones defending the established order. And that's what it is. Everybody knows it, except for the journalists apparently. You have to get alternative media sources, find your own information, learn your own stuff. Thanks everybody for watching as well. I'm going to stay live for a while. Yeah, it was a good, I got here late. Apparently there was a kerfuffle at the start, whatever, that happens. I don't mind missing that, to be honest. I'm kind of sick of that stuff. It's good entertainment for people, I suppose. People like the drama, but I'm more happy to see the speeches on this side. Justin spoke very well. Gran Torino spoke very well. People reacted really well to Gran Torino. Note as well, if you watch this back, or if you were watching here already, that Gran Torino, when he got up to speak, the opposite side, the guys over here, this Antifa crowd, they seethed. They audibly seethed. I think it's the word I'm looking for. They reacted. They really, really don't like Rowan. They don't like his energy. I don't mean to kiss arse here, but Rowan has a good energy, a good buzz about him. They don't like it at all. Chopper, you saw who organised this, Mick O'Keefe Chopper. I'm really actually, I don't want to say proud, I'm not his dad, but I kind of am proud of him. He's done very well. He got doxxed. He got doxxed from his online avatar. So he went with it. He said, okay, I'm doxxed now. now you have empowered me. And sure enough, a couple of months later, he's now setting up rallies, he's liaising, he's getting it together. Ain't no basement dweller. He's a serious man, and he's organised a couple of protests now, and he knows what he's doing. I'll fair play to him. So if you want to follow him on Twitter, he's there at, I'm not sure what he is now, he gets banned once in a while, but Chopper, you'll find him. Who else spoke? Pratik spoke very well. Pratik is kind of coming into his own. I thought he spoke very well. He looked very stoic, very cool. But so that was that. And then just these guys. I don't know. I'm bored of it at this point. You know, talking about them. They are what they are. But yeah, I would appreciate, lads, as I've gone to the trouble, you know, if you could subscribe, because I could leave this up and let it gather views, but YouTube might punish me for it. So then I don't get the subscribers that I would have gotten. So basically, if you're here now and you haven't already clicked subscribe and hit the bell and all that, I would really appreciate that. You know, you scratch my back, I scratch yours. Yeah. Yeah. So it's basically over. People have to leave in groups. I'm working on a video at the moment. I don't want to give it away, but I'm hoping it's going to be one of my best. You'll see it when you see it, maybe in the next week. So yeah, like I say, subscribe. No need to share it at this point. I'm getting ready to wrap it up. I'll just have a stroll around. I know you won't hear me. People are just leaving.
Fleet of steel, the Normans run through costly paths and Ardrahan.
Okay, I will just emphasize once more, just to make the point, just to make it crystal clear. The far right, supposedly, whatever that is, are apparently the threat. Here are the guards in front of the so-called far right. They're just here as a formality. They look pretty relaxed, right? Let's check this out. I hope you can see that properly. I just can't make that point enough, you know. Anyway, lads, I might as well leave it there. It's an old sub. Mind yourselves. I might stream soon. So yeah, look, I'll talk to you soon. Bye, lads.